I'm live. Yay. Hi, you guys. Jules Blessed Vegan. What's up, y'all? Yeah, I just wanted to chime in. I just did a really interesting talk in a fall health summit. Yes, I know. I'm honored. I was one of the people. But it was really interesting. One of the terms that was used was hypernutrition. I hope I'm saying that right. Hypernutrition. And that was completely new to me. And so I was looking it up. And of course, with every good side of a coin, there's a negative side of a coin. So when I actually put in hypernutrition, the first thing that came up was overnutrition. And that's fair enough because we live in a society right now, standard American diet, where people are tending to just eat too much food. Now, people will say, well, Jules, weren't you talking about a whole thing where you were saying how many calories you could have and stuff like that? I'm not really talking about that. Okay, yeah, maybe we should. I'm not exactly releasing all the excess weight. I believe it's coming. So yeah, maybe we should. But what my point is is not that. It what I mean is like we're people are eating like 3,500 calories when they should be eating between 14 and 1,800 calories or something. And of course, I'm not even going to go into that because it varies so much per person and their lifestyle and their age. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is inevitably with the standard American diet, which is largely processed, packaged food. I mean, I understand that even if you go to somewhere, let's just say Olive Garden, which people get so excited, right? Italian food drenched in bovine fat and cheese and all that. Oh my gosh, like don't get me started. But all of that is pre-made stuff. They don't even use their kitchen. It's my understanding they don't use their kitchen. And what they do use it for at best is the healthier stuff. Like they actually make their salads in the kitchen. Yay. I understand that they make their vegetable soup, that kind of thing. But all of it's like pre-made and just shipped there. And it's just not a good time in our history regarding food. So I just was kind of joking with a friend because I know that the heavier I got, it was a different kind of praise because obviously I've released a good 140 pounds. It's a different praise. When I was heavier though, even though it was like a rounded face, I was definitely getting all the nutrients because I was binging my full head off and getting 6,500 or 10,000 calories a day, and because I was binging my head off, I was definitely getting all the nutrients. So people would say, "Oh my gosh, you have such a pretty face," which was certainly safe to say because I was all face, I was all everything. But it was very kind for them to mention that. It's different now. It is still heavy, no doubt, but I finally have some lines. I've got a little bit of a cheekbone, a little bit of a chin, and there's a vibrancy, right? Even though I'm perfectly imperfect, there's a vibrancy because plants and vegetables do that. Eating God's food with plants and vegetables and plant based fats like the avocado, like the hemp hearts, like the flaxseed, the chia seed, allows for a natural vibrancy. I don't even have to wear makeup though. I will do a little commercial. Color Your World lipstick for women 40 and over. These are so cute. Annie Beard, who is 101 Annie on Instagram, sent me this as a gift. And I've since bought a zillion of them. And this is actually just made out of a little disposable container, which of course allows it to break down in a landfill, which I love too. But other than this, so coconut oil and this lipstick, which sometimes I could do it right now. Put on my little cheekies thingies right here to give a little highlight to that part of my cheek. And other than that, that's all the makeup I have. And people are like, we know, Jules, we can see all your imperfections. I know. But I'm trusting that God is going to continue to renew and heal my face. So I'm content to just use Color My World. And no, I'm not sponsored by them. You can't even be, I don't think you can even start to be sponsored till you have at least 1,000 followers. This is an exclusive elite group, people. I am not there. Anyway, though, yeah. So they were talking about that, and I thought, you do get all the nutrients, but you get too many. So when I looked it up, it said overnutrition. That's what came up when I said hypernutrition. It said overnutrition, which is also known as hyperalimentation. Alimentation. It's actually a form of malnutrition, which of course is so interesting. How could that person be malnourished? Look at them. And they even have the big bloated belly like the poor little children, in Africa and stuff like that. It's completely similar in the sense that even though they're consuming so much, they're not consuming the proper stuff that their body actually needs. So it says it's a form of malnutrition in which the intake of nutrients is oversupplied. The amount of nutrients exceeds the amount required for normal growth metabolism. It's really hard on the body to get too much of anything, too much of anything. So it says it can refer to obesity, of course, a disorder which occurs by eating more calories than one burns, as well as oversupplying a specific nutrient, which people do sometimes, such as dietary minerals or vitamin poisoning. Oh my gosh, do you guys know back in my gimmick days when I was doing every kind of diet, I did, oh, I can see it, but I can't say it. I started to say Nutrisystem, which is definitely something I've done. Come on, Juliana, what is it called? It's very similar to that. Well, it'll come to me. Anyway, it was one of them that everyone was doing at the time, and it's still very much around. But you would literally get a packet of like 50 vitamins and minerals, like just this whole packet. And you had to take that packet like 3 times a day. And then, of course, it's always expected that you're going to be eating right. And that's kind of the funny thing with packaged program diets is that, you can lose blank amount of weight, but you also must eat right. You must, do a certain amount of exercise. Well, if you're doing those things, you could lose the weight anyway. You don't even need that supplement, right? And so, anyway, I literally bought into it, and was taking those pills, and it toxicked my body so bad. Like within 3 days, I had thousands of little bubbles of, I'm just going to say liquid because it wasn't just water. My body was desperately trying to store all of that excess nutrient wherever it could. And I was covered in little baby blisters, a gazillion of them. It will come to me. Luckily, I was able to write them and say, hi, I completely poisoned my body on your system and I need my money back because it was insane. It was really bad. So oversupplying a specific nutrient like dietary minerals, vitamin, poisoning, been there. Totally agree. Other things like mineral excess where people overdo their iron. You could certainly overdo iodine, right? Also low sodium diets where people go on a low sodium diet and they don't necessarily get the natural amount. That's the beauty of God's food. God has it going on. If you are literally eating his food, and I love that whole 80-10-10. So 80%, of course, carbs in the form of primarily fruits. And then, of course, greens, right? Vegetables. And then just 10% protein in the form of healthy fats. So plant-based hemp, flax, chia. And then, I guess, did I say fat and then protein for the same way? Plus, you just have to know that all fruit and vegetables contain those 3 elements, all of them. They all have some fat, they all have some protein, they all have some carbs, right? Anyway, and then overnutrition may also refer to greater food consumption than appropriate, as well as other feeding procedures, such as parenteral nutrition. I am not familiar, and I am not going to jump over to a new topic. Annie Beard, you found me. You found me. Happy Saturday. So yeah, I'm talking about nutrition, but I'm talking about the difference between overnutrition, which is what people are tending to do. They're consuming so much standard American diet that they're getting too much of many things, but at the same time, they're malnourished because they're not getting enough of the right thing, which I know you get. I know you totally get. This is 101 Annie on Instagram that I referred to. Okay, at the same time, though, in the talk that I was just in, they were talking about hypernutrition. And that was a term that I had not heard before. And I was like, hypernutrition, what pray tell is that? And it turns out that hypernutrition is getting enough of, again, God sponsored food, the fruit and vegetables and everything else, to the point where you so inundate your cells that all of the bad things that aren't serving you basically go. So the dis-ease, right? The not being at ease in your body basically says, wow, these cells are so full with the good stuff that we're out of here. We're out of here. So yeah, so Annie said too much of a bad thing. We know that. We know that. People are getting way too much of the artificial poisoning, prepackaged nonsense, and they're not getting enough. Now, I don't know, anytime that you take an element and you manipulate it and transform it and package it, it's going to be a problem. So, Annie, I was just telling the story that I had bought into one of the gazillion diet plans, and for this one, I'm almost seeing it. Like, when you have the picture, but you can't say it, I'm almost seeing what it was. Oh, what? Herbalife, Herbalife. Okay, if you're familiar with Herbalife. So, I had bought into Herbalife and they literally gave me packets of, you know, tons of supplements. I don't even know what they all were, and powdered drinks and just a gazillion of it. And to say that my microbiome and that my standard American diet body was in no place to consume all of that is an understatement. So I was on Herbalife, and God bless you if you're associated with Herbalife. I'm not bagging on anyone. It's my experience. But I started doing all those packets. I started drinking all those drinks, the whole thing. And within 3 days, my I had thousands of blisters all over, these tiny little blisters with fluid, which was probably just the excess of all of that stuff that I was consuming that was so foreign to my body, you didn't know where to put it. And I was poisoned. I literally was poisoned. And of course, it was probably a good intention, but that good intention went seriously wrong. And so, yeah, what it is the only food that you really can go for and know that your body knows what to do with is the food designed by God for your body, right? So people say that we are absolutely frugivores, which are people who eat fruit, and every cell in our body needs it, right? Because it's just natural carbohydrates, and we run on glucose and fructose, and our brain needs that. And then, of course, all the grains, and all those grains have all of the other minerals and macronutrients, micronutrients, all in natural foods that we can buy in a way that God intended. And so, like, if God grew it, if it's sponsored by God, including those plant-based fats that I mentioned earlier, then you're on the right track. But anytime that we're packaging and combining and deciding that we're going to do that, you don't really know what your body needs. The beauty is your body will release what it doesn't need. It will release what it doesn't need over time, presuming you're not continuing to put it in. So if you're, poisoning yourself with all of the supplements with the standard American diet, where you're accidentally, because you're obsessed with one food at the moment, getting way too much of that one food. All of that is a problem. That's why they say eat the rainbow, right? So the idea, if I understood it right, behind the hypernutrient is that you're literally just flooding your cells. Your body's going to work it out. It's going to take in all of that food sponsored by God. It's going to put it where it needs, and it's going to release the waste, right? So we kind of joke in this community about, um, you know, how much waste is released when one goes to the restroom. And it's something that people are aware of almost right away because so many people are bound up, right? A ton of people suffer from constipation. And if they have, like, is it IBS, irritable bowel syndrome? It's either constipation or diarrhea and almost nothing in between. And when you start eating God's food, your body immediately balances. And though you may have a waste initially, it's all the toxicities that have to get out of your body anyway. It's really brilliant. So I was just kind of talking about my process, and I was saying that so much of mine is mental. A lot of the reason I hold on to my weight is mental. My gaming and manipulation with food and stuff is mental. And some of that is just insecurity. Never food insecurity, praise God, because that's true for many people. But the insecurity of feeling safe in my body. And it's something that I've fought the whole way. So I did stop weighing myself at 330. I'm sure I got above 330. But finally, the scale started to go down. I remember being so excited about 328, and it took some time. But finally, I could see that I was at 328. Finally, I was at 323. It was these little increments. And then finally, 313, 310, 293. Like it was these little 10-pound increments. So interesting. And finally, at 281, I just even ventured into vegan, let alone raw vegan, and dropped that 81 pounds. Finally, dropped 10 pounds more and panicked. I panicked. And so, unfortunately, I've been waving, for this last year. It's not just COVID, it's me, it's my own personal story. But going back and forth. But that's always when I'm about to push through a threshold or push through a mental head trip that I'm struggling with, and then I'll drop again. I don't believe I will be going up, up, up ever again because now I'm informed. I know the better way. I know that you can eat fruit, you can eat vegetables, you can eat plant-based, and not only will you get your health back, and I've shared all my stories. You can plug any of this into my search above and find out about me healing from kidney disease, from thyroid, from asthma, from migraines, from bipolar, like all those things that I've released. And by all accounts, I'm terrifically healthy right now, but you can't even joke that you're allowed to maintain excess weight and have padded organs and not have a consequence over time. At the very least, you're just not living your best life, right? So I've talked before about in being obese, the fear of going down to the floor because at times I was afraid I couldn't get up, right? And the joy of being able to step up on a chair or jump up on a ladder or climb up on a horse stall and trust that my body would allow me to do it. And having those little thrills, right? Well, my gosh, how much more thrilling when I get to the body God designed for me. And that's coming. That's coming. I often say, and I won't limit God, but I often think it's around 128, which for 5'7" is about right. It was certainly the body I had at first when I first like bloomed into my youth and my teens and was at 5'7" and in probably the body that God designed for me. And I believe it'll be somewhere around there. And I believe that this is my time to do that. So I was just really happy to participate in what was called the Fall Health Summit. And it was sponsored by a really beautiful friend, Sherilyn Garrett. And you can find her on Facebook as well. But anyway, I was just happy to be in there because there was good information for me as well. And it reminded me of the better way. So I wanted to check in with you guys, but that hypernutrition I hadn't heard before. Sherilyn had a beautiful testimony of saying that she actually helped heal her daughter's cancer because they went to a homeopathic doctor and they decided to flood that little kid with nutrition. And like when they brought her there, they were literally physically carrying her in to the clinic because she couldn't walk. And within 2 weeks, she was begging to get up and to get off that couch and to get on with her life. And I love that. I've had many, all diet related, I realize now, all diet related now, from my horrific fibroids and terrible periods to now, granted, I was in some car accidents, which led to my what is it called? Don't tell me. My sciatica, and ultimately back surgery and things like that. But I've been in on the floor where I'd have to crawl the first few minutes I got out of bed. I've been on a cane for like 6 months, where I had to actually use a cane. I'm completely pain free. I have I mean, obviously, because I'm overweight, I must have some, but I largely have no inflammation in my body. I thank God every moment for the raw vegan lifestyle because I realized right away, like it was weird. It kind of opened my eyes when I found Tanny Raw, whom I mentioned so many times, who's so great on every social media platform for health, to realize that people are in pain. I'm lucky. I had enough of my own ailments, let alone the acid reflux, the familial tremors, so many. And again, I have a video for every story. I'm so lucky that I didn't get to the point of having chronic diarrhea or anything like that, or a messed up stomach that way. I'm so lucky that I didn't have just aches and physical pain the way I see. I see so many people in so much pain. And it's not just about being fat, there's skinny people in pain. There are very thin people who are what are referred to as skinny fat. They just have like a pouch, or a poochy tummy. By all accounts, they look thin, but inside their body is hurting and inflamed, and they need as much help as anybody. They really do. So I'm just on my walk, as you know, and I just kind of wanted to compare that hypernutrition versus overnutrition, which of course has led to people being in the situation we're in right now. It's just great. Thanks so much, Andy. I know I'm happy to share my testimonials because I'm so hopeful. Another question was, where will you be in a year from now? And also, what is your intention for the planet? So Tanny Raw always says, what's your why? And you need a really strong why. But in addition to the why is, what is your desire? Because I was telling them that in choosing health, you're choosing to live. And there's responsibility in choosing to live, because a lot of people are content to say, well, most people don't live past 65 anyway. What? Check out 101 Annie on Instagram. She's 63. Oh my gosh. Could you even imagine Annie at this point saying, oh, well, most people die. Like a ton of men die at 67, women die at 78, whatever. No, 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 no. I'm double nickels right now, people. And I say I'm at the halfway mark of my life. So with that intention, we are called to serve others by informing them, by modeling the better way. I mean, I will get there. I want my body to match my mindset. I want my health to match the way I'm eating. I want to be a walking testimonial of the better way. I'm getting there. People, like I was saying, they say what a pretty face when you're heavy because you have like so much extra nutrients inevitably. But when you get thin again, there is a light that comes with fruit and vegetables. And that light is the pretty face that I want to give to the world. So that's it, my friends. Just wanted to check in. I know, of course, you can't imagine. Could you, like, seriously? That's why I freaked when, at whatever age I was, I got to think about that, like 45, when they were like, oh, by the way, you have kidney disease and you're about to leave the planet. I was like, that's a hard no. And it's the same thing. I'm not going to let poor health choices shorten my time on the planet. So that's it. I just wanted to give a shout out to the better way. And I like that hypernutrition idea, that you literally flood the cells with so much nutrition that there's no room in there for illness. I love that. How about you? It's pretty fantastic. All right. And speaking of fantastic, and Annie Beard, she hooked me up. Seriously, this is the color of the day. I love my Color Your World. It's made for people 40 and older, but it's made for anyone, and it's vegan. So hello, try that. All right. Love you so much. Thanks for checking in, Annie. As always, like if you like to this, if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And until we talk again, best of all, there's fruit, there's vegetables, there's healthy fats for the taking. Change your life. You could be raw and you can get rid of all your ailments. And for that, knowledge alone, we're blessed. Peace out, y'all.